Hey guys, welcome back to another Black Desert video. So, the topic of today's video is going to be Krogdalo donkey gear and how to acquire it as fast as possible. Okay, so some of you might know that a few days ago I finished my fifth and final piece of the Krogdalo donkey gear. And so in total it took me 19 days, believe it or not. It actually surprised me. I didn't think it was going to be that short. So yeah. Before I get on with the video and what my methods were and all that stuff, I want to give a special thanks to a few people who have in one way or another helped to motivate me to push to the end of this goal. So whether it was through providing me with information or just sheer inspiration. So I want to thank Big and Shiny, Carandus, Mermaid on Tap, Nabron, and from the SCA server, Aghanim Scepter. Okay, so thank you guys. Now let's get on to the video. The first question to answer is, what is Krogdalo donkey gear? And let me show you. So here's my donkey, and this is what Krogdalo donkey gear looks like. And I know that's probably not the answer that you're looking for. You're probably wondering, why would anybody want Krogdalo donkey gear? So the answer to that question can be answered in the description of the donkey gear itself. So here's all 5 pieces. Let's read the description of this piece. Let's look at the very bottom where it says effect. It says press space while riding a donkey to activate donkey's hee-haw. That's the name of the skill. So when you equip a piece of Krogdalo gear, it's able to use a skill. And as you can see, it gives you a 3% life EXP buff when you have 1 piece of gear on. If you have 3 pieces of gear, it gives you a 5% life EXP buff, and when you have all 5 pieces, you get a 10% life EXP buff. So there's a couple of things that this tooltip doesn't mention. It doesn't tell you how long the buff is, and it also doesn't tell you that you can actually use it on a total of 10 people, yourself included. So if you can see, let me go on the donkey and let's pop the buff. Let's press space. So I already had the buff running, but as you can see, it just reapplied it. And so as you can see, this buff lasts for 60 minutes. So it's a full hour of plus 10% life XP. And like I said before, it applies to 9 allies that are in your area as well. And then as you can see down here, there's a 5-minute cooldown. So it's not, I can't just keep spamming it. However, the buff is an hour long, so it's 100% uptime, even with this 5-minute cooldown thing. Okay, so and I suppose the people that would most want to get this Krogdalo donkey gear are like the hardcore life skillers that want as many life skill buffs as possible to stack with each other to help power level whatever life skill they're trying to push. Okay, so now let's talk about a common misconception that I hear all the time. People wonder like, oh, okay, so if you have a donkey gear, does that mean you're going to be riding the donkey around everywhere? No, that is not at all what the strategy is. I guess there's a few situations where maybe you wouldn't want to ride it around anywhere, but you might want to keep the donkey with you instead of your horse. But there's, most scenarios, you won't be riding the donkey from place to place. So the strategy is, at least the one that I use, is I just transport my donkey to the place that I'm gonna be life skilling, right? So I ride my horse there. I ride my horse there as the donkey's transporting, and then when I arrive there, I take the donkey out, pop the buff, and then I'm on my way, right? So you definitely do not use the donkey to to ride around to places. That is quite inefficient. However, I guess I could imagine if you were going to go hunting, for example, for a long period of time, any life skill that's going to take over an hour, then in those cases, maybe you would want to take the donkey with you, right? And again, for hunting, you could just park the donkey at the hunting spot. You don't need your horse to be going back and forth. You're only going to travel there one time, and then you're going to stay there for a long period of time, right? So it's not really as bad as people make it sound, having your donkey with you. Oh yeah, and there's one other strategy that I should mention. So Jordan TV had this idea, which is a pretty interesting one, that you can take the gear off, right? You can just carry the gear around on your character. and then you can have a donkey at whichever stable you plan to go to. So you can have like one donkey in every stable across the game if you really wanted to be prepared for any situation. That way, you know, if you need the buff and you're randomly in a town, you can be like, okay, let's just equip this donkey with the gear, pop the buff, and then take the gear back off. For my particular situation, that hasn't been necessary since I only really life skill in like a couple spots. But if you're somebody like Jordan TV who goes to multiple random spots and switches life skills all the time, that might be the ideal strategy for you. Okay, so anyway, the next question is, how do you get the Krogdalo donkey gear? So let's take a look. So the donkey gear can be crafted at Stonetail Horse Ranch, which is located in the Medea region, and Stonetail Horse Ranch is directly north of Tariff. So what I did is I put whatever materials I needed to craft the donkey gear in the Tariff storage, and then I connected my nodes up to Stonetail Horse Ranch, so Main's Hideout, then Otto Farm, then Stonetail Horse Ranch, and I sent a worker to this house right here to craft the donkey gear. You have to upgrade this workshop to level 3, and then as you can see down here, here's where all the donkey gear is located. And so while we're here, let's actually take a look at what ingredients are needed to craft these. Okay, so if you look at the top, we need Krogdalo origin stones, Garmoth scales, all 5 pieces need those. Those are relatively easy to obtain on the NA server at least. I just bought those off the market. Let's look at the third item on the list. We have these spirit stone fragments. As you can see, there's 3 different types. There's water spirit stone fragments, earth spirit stone fragments, and wind spirit stone fragments. All of these are acquired by killing mobs in the Komisilv region. The water spirit stones are obtained through killing manshams. The earth spirit stones are from killing Ronaros and Fadus, and the wind ones are obtained by killing Ferikas and Ferinas in the Navarran steppe area. Okay, let's skip this 4th item. We'll come back and talk about that afterwards. Let's get straight to the bottom and talk about this final item in each piece of gear. So the Supreme Soft Hide, I did have to craft my own leather glaze, but it was relatively easy. Once I had enough leather glaze, I just bought some fine soft hide off the market and did the shaking processing to get the Supreme Soft Hide. Golden Sun Coral, I was able to buy that off the market without too much hassle. Pure Knock Crystal, I bought that off the market as well. Supreme Hard Hide, same thing. I had to craft leather glaze and then, you know, buy some fine hard hide off the market and shake it. And then Prairie Green Coral, easily purchase off the market as well. Okay, so now let's talk about this 4th item that we skipped over called iridescent pebbles. These are by far the biggest bottleneck in this whole process. This is what makes donkey gear kind of a pain, or at least some consider to be a pain. All right, so let's talk about how to get iridescent pebbles. Iridescent pebbles are acquired through doing various activities on Papua Crimea Island, which is this little island off to the west of the continent. It's here's Grana. It's northwest of Grana up here. Okay, so unfortunately, to gain access to those activities on Papua Crimea Island, you actually need to first complete this adventure journal called Lamut Gang's Adventure Journal. And so there are 5 different books. Now, I'm not going to get into all the specifics of how to start and complete all of these things. You can, you know, YouTube it. I know Chris Pauly has some pretty good guides about how to finish all these books. So just know that you kind of have to finish this before you can have access to all the methods of acquiring iridescent pebbles. Okay, so let me switch characters, and as I'm switching characters, we can talk a little bit more in depth about what it takes to get the pebbles. All right, so I'm going to open up this notepad here, and as you can see, we needed 15 total iridescent pebbles, right, to get all 5 pieces of gear. In order to get 1 pebble, we need to acquire these 2 different types of coins that that exist on Papua Crimea Island. So whenever you do the various activities, you'll get rewarded with rainbow fishbone coins or rainbow petal coins. Okay, and you need 100 of them to convert to one iridescent pebble. So that turns out to be 1,500 coins total. All right. So let's talk about the first. Let's talk about the ways of acquiring coins. The first method everybody knows about, or most people know about, and that is doing daily quests. Okay, so for daily quests, there's actually 14 total dailies, but I strongly encourage you to skip 3 of them. There's only 11 of them are worth doing. Do not. They're the ones that you want to skip are the fishing quests. Those are absolutely not worth your time. And so I have a little message here in parentheses. If you can, the only way that the fishing quests would at all be worth it is if you could finish one of the fishing quests in less than 7 minutes and 30 seconds. And in my experience, that has never been the case. But I mean, if you guys want to try it and see if you can, if you can finish it in 7 minutes and 30 seconds, you know, go for it. But these fishing quests are such a waste of time. Like, please do not do them. Okay. Then here's another tip about, there's a couple of summon scroll quests. I would recommend doing that with a partner. And so one person should purchase you can buy these transformation scrolls. I think you get some from just doing the quests, but you can purchase transformation scrolls. There's a tank one that only costs 2 coins, I believe. I would suggest one person purchase that tank transformation scroll, and then the other person should be the DPS. And if you have a partner and one person tanks and the other person DPSs, it goes by really, really fast. It'll take significantly longer if you try to solo it. So I strongly recommend doing that with a partner. Then here's some interesting stats. So I did some trial runs to see how long it took me to finish, how fast I could finish the dailies. And I timed it a few times. This is actually my slowest time, 24 minutes. But whatever, let's go with that time for now. If we track dailies at 24 minutes, then it actually works out to be 46.4 hours of total active playtime. Because we need 1,500 coins, and if it takes 24 minutes to get 13 coins, then that equals 46.4 hours of total playtime. Right, and so, and that'll be over the course of 116 days. And so, if you want to, this is the best approach if you want to spend as little active time on this as possible. Right, if you care about silver per hour and being efficient with your time, this is the best approach, is to just do dailies. However, I imagine if you're watching this video, you probably don't want to wait 116 days. So this is where we get into the other methods. Okay, so let's talk about the second method. The second method is grinding. Yes, grinding. You can actually grind to get coins. Okay, so let's talk about this. There's actually there's a couple of mobs that you can kill on the island. One of them is a rock spirit and the other one is like a little mushroom thing. Okay, and when you kill them, they drop 1 seed of indolence per mob. Okay, and 24 of those seeds can be converted to 1 coin. Okay, and I timed it. I did some, you know, I worked out a pretty good strategy, which we'll talk about at the end of the video. But I worked out a pretty good strategy which gets me consistently 7.8 coins per hour, or you know, if we technically 187 seeds, which converts to 7.8 coins per hour. Okay, and so now here's where we get into the fishing thing again. This is where that time 7 minutes and 30 seconds came from, because I can guarantee get 1 coin in 7 minutes and 30 seconds of grinding, right? So this is why doing these fishing quests is not worth it if it takes longer than that amount of time, because each fishing quest rewards you with 1 coin. So if it takes longer than 7 minutes and 30 seconds, absolutely it is not worth your time. Okay, so now let's talk about some more stats here. So it'll take 192.3 hours if you only grind and you never do any dailies. Okay, and then here's another interesting stat is, theoretically, if you don't sleep and you do 8 days worth of dailies and you grind for the remainder of the time, it'll take you a total of 182 hours. But you remember, you can't sleep. So, 7.59 days. And theoretically, you could finish the entire set of donkey gear if you really could stay up and grind your life away. Anyway, just an interesting fact. Okay, so let's talk about the next approach, which is fishing. You can actually active triple float fish. So let me minimize this so I can show you exactly where you fish. So here's Papua Crimea Island. You can actually fish in the center of the island here, and it has to be here. If you try to fish off the side, the loot table will not drop any coins. So don't try to fish anywhere but the middle of the island, so right in this area right here, okay? And so you can get the rainbow fishbone coins or the rainbow petal coins. Obviously it's very RNG, but I did my fair share of active triple float fishing. So, and here's some stats. Actually, I actually tested 20 hours of active triple floating, and at first I gotta mention Aghanim Scepter. He's the person that kind of inspired me to test it, because he said, his experience was he was able to get as many as 30 coins in 1 hour, which is absolutely insane. And he said he was actually averaging about between 10 and 20 coins an hour. So I was like, okay, I need to investigate this, because that sounds crazy, right? So I tried it. I tested it for about 20 hours, and unfortunately my luck was nowhere near as good as his, right? I got 3.55 coins per hour over the course of 20 hours of testing. However, I don't doubt that he actually did get 30 coins in 1 hour, because some of my hours I got 14 coins, and then also there were times where in one cast I got 9 coins. So I definitely think it is possible to get 30 coins in an hour. However, I would definitely not recommend this approach as your primary coin earning approach, just because it is so RNG. And even though it is probably possible to get 30 coins an hour, there were a lot of hours where I got 0 coins. So, proceed with caution, at your own risk. But what I will say is this is a lot less effort than grinding. So, it's not that I'm completely disregarding this approach, because I definitely did a lot of this depending on how I felt. Okay, so that's active triple floating. You can also AFK triple float if you get bored of sitting at your keyboard pressing the captures and stuff. And then you can also AFK Balanos fish, which I definitely did every night. And so right here, this is information provided by Nabron. So I'll link that data in the description, but he was basically he was able to get 0.41 coins per hour over the course of his AFK fishing here, and that was between Master 1 and Master 17. I guess his character had leveled its fishing over the course of that time, and he was using a +10 branded Balanos rod and a T4 auto fishing time reduction pet. So 0.41 coins per hour through AFK fishing. Okay, let's talk about the final approach to earning coins that I know of, and that is the Papu versus Otter Wars. So what this is like a server-specific event that happens, who knows when. It seems RNG, I have no idea. But I managed to participate in 1 or 2 of these, and unfortunately, in my experience, they're not really worth doing. So what they are is basically like a war against the Papus and the Otters, and you transform into one of those 2 choices, and then you fight against NPCs on the opposing side. And every time you kill an NPC or you kill a mob, it drops a piece of trash loot, or I'm not sure if it drops one. It drops maybe some pieces of trash loot, and that trash loot can be converted into 1 coin, and it is 100 pieces of trash to 1 coin. Okay, and so the reason I don't think that this is really worth it is because, at least in my experience, I wasn't even able to get 300 pieces of trash in the 30 minutes. So that, 2.9 coins in 30 minutes is 6.8 coins per hour, right? If we're really going to convert it to coins per hour. And that's, you know, that's not as good as grinding. Grinding was 7.8 coins an hour. So for me, I found Otter and Papu Wars not really worth doing if I could just spend my time grinding and getting a better coin per hour rate, right? However, I will say, you know, I've only ever done it twice. Maybe there's some strategies where you can get even more trash loot. But so this is why I included this right here. It's only worth doing Papu and Otter Wars if you can manage to get more than 390 trash per hour, or per war, sorry, not per hour, because this equals 7.8 coins per hour, right? This is the equivalent amount of trash loot that would convert to meet the same coin per hour rate as grinding. So this is only worth doing if you can match or beat 390 trash per war. Okay, so those are the 4 methods that I know of to acquire rainbow fishbone coins or rainbow petal coins. Okay, so now let's talk more specifically about grinding. I want to talk about the technique, the strategy that allowed me to get 7.8 coins per hour, because I had to do a lot of testing and figuring out like what the best buffs are, you know, what the best strategy for attacking the mobs is. So let's talk about that in a little bit in depth. Okay, so first of all, let me show you the rotation. And by the way, I got to thank Karandis for this. This is the rotation that he found, and you know, I tried to see if maybe, you know, I tried to investigate for myself and check if there were better rotations. I don't think there are. I couldn't find any better than the one that Karandis found. So this rotation is on the north side, on the Papu side. It is on the east beach, the southeast beach, right around here, and it's just a big circle right around here. Okay, and so this rotation consists of a total of 8 mobs. There's only 2 different types of mobs. I think I mentioned earlier, there's a mushroom, which is like this, and then there's a rock spirit, which is this little thing that's sleeping in the ground. Okay, so there's a total of 8 of them. So 1, let's count real quick, 2, and then let's go over here. There'll be a mushroom right here that for some reason doesn't like to render. I don't know why. There he is. Okay, 3. And then 4, here's another rock spirit. Then 5, here's another mushroom. Rock spirit comes, there's one down here. 6, and then 7, mushroom again, and then the last one is kind of in this bushy tree area here. 8. I'm not sure why they don't render in sometimes, but anyway. Okay, so that's the rotation, and you know, I'll do it a bit so you'll get to see it more often. But let's talk about what gear to use. And first of all, let's talk about, does AP and DP matter? No, it doesn't. However, back attack damage does, and that is extremely important for this approach. Okay, so and then you know, thanks Karandis as well, because I wouldn't have known that and if I didn't watch his video. So what you will want is you will want an ultimate offhand, and the reason you want it to be ultimate is because if you read at the bottom of the tooltip, it says all special attack extra damage plus 10%. So what that means is, because back attack is considered a special attack, it is basically plus 10% back attack damage. So that's why you want it to be ultimate. And then on top of that, you want it to have 2 crystal slots, and you want to put 2 back attack crystals into those slots. Okay, so ultimate offhand with 2 back attack crystals, and then you also want a Kaya necklace, which is another 10% extra back attack damage. And you can buy this from the armor vendor in Trent. You just talk to him, open his shop, and you can just buy it straight from him. Okay, so that's the only gear that you need. Now let's talk about the buffs that you're going to need. So these are actually very important as well. There's actually a lot of buffs. Well, there's 3 different buffs that I use, but there's actually there's a 4th buff that does work, but it's not actually useful to use. So Elixir of Deep Sea also has back attack damage. The reason that I don't use this, I'll explain it. It's hard to explain. Let's talk about the other buffs, and then we'll talk about this later. So the buffs that you for sure want are Exquisite Cron Meal, You want Elixir of Lethal Assassination, also has back attack damage, and then you also want Elixir of Brutal Perforation. Okay, and I use the party elixir versions of these, so I don't have to micromanage so much with the cooldowns and stuff. Okay, or let's see, what else do I want to mention? Oh yeah, by the way, I know Karandis in his video, he purchased the Papu Shaman. You know, I'm sure he just did it to test it. I do not think that that's necessary. In fact, I think that's a waste of coins. So I would advise against doing that, especially if you use the strategy that I figured out. Because I'm able to get 7.8 coins per hour using the Blader, the Brave Pine Blader transformation scroll, which is, I think, the one that you just get from doing the adventure journal. Okay, so you do not need to purchase any other classes, because the reason that I don't recommend it is because it costs, I think it costs 350 coins or something. Let's see. Yeah, 350 rainbow petal coins. This is more than one piece of donkey gear. If you had 300 rainbow petal coins, you could purchase one piece of donkey gear and have 50 coins left over. So yeah, I do not think it's worth it. You're going to extend the amount of time that it's going to take you to get the donkey gear if you purchase either of those. Okay, so I don't recommend it. Okay, so let's just kind of go through this rotation a little bit, and I'll talk about the specifics of the strategy. Okay, so I'm going to summon my Pine Blader. I'm going to pop my buffs, and then let's get into the technique of how to approach this, and I'll also explain why Elixir of Deep Sea is not necessary. In fact, not only is it not necessary, it is a hindrance, and that's strange. That might seem strange, right? Because you might be thinking, oh well, isn't more damage always better? No, this is one of the few cases where more damage is actually worse, and it's because of the way that this mechanic works. So as you can see, I have these little, here's my HP bar at the bottom, and I also have these weird little clamshell shaped things. And so what happens is whenever I do a basic attack, when I left click, one of these clamshells lights up. Okay, and as soon as I get to 3 clamshells, I can use my charged attack, which is called Zesty Rush. That is my primary damage source. Okay, so the reason that more damage is actually worse is because if I kill these mobs too fast, I won't be able to charge my special skill, right? So the ideal approach for this is to be able to kill these mobs in 4 hits, no more, no less. Okay, so that'll make more sense in a second. Okay, so let me talk about the strategy, because if you kill them in 3 hits, then as I said, you're not going to have your charged attack available for the next mob. Okay, so let me just show you what I mean. So you're going to come to the first mushroom. You're actually not going to kill this one. Okay, you're going to charge your rage meter. So I'm going to do 3 basic attacks, and then I'm going to run away, and I'm just going to let it reset. Okay, so the only reason I'm attacking this is purely to build rage, and then I just run away. Okay, I'll let him reset, and so now what I'm in a good position where I didn't take any damage. That's another thing to notice, is these guys take a long time to aggro and actually start attacking you, which is really good. You want to use that to your advantage. So I build up my rage. Now I come to the next mob, and so as you can see, I'm positioned behind him, and the way that you can tell whether you're behind him is where the moss reaches the ground. So if I come around to this side, you see there's he's kind of got a point right here. That's his front. You don't want to attack him from this side. You want to come around to where the moss kind of comes down to meet the ground. Okay, so the strategy for these rock spirits is you want to always start with your charged attack. Okay, so I'm going to start with the charge attack, and then I'm going to do 1 basic attack afterwards. Okay, and then after that, I'm going to reposition to look diagonally, and the reason to do that is so that I can dodge when he attacks. I want to be prepared to dodge his next attack. Okay, and then let me just kind of talk it out, and then I'll demonstrate it to you afterwards. So just to recap: charge attack, basic attack, reposition to the right, be prepared to dodge. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna look for him to use one of two attacks. If he does his quick side swipe attack, you want to keep dodging, and then you want to wait for him to use his long wind up attack. That's when you attack him. Okay, so let me just demonstrate and kind of show you what happens. So I'm going to start with my charge attack, do one basic attack, reposition to the right, wait for him to do, that's his quick side swipe, so I'm going to just wait. There's his long wind up attack, and now I get to the back of him and I do back attack damage. Okay, so that's the approach. I hope you guys were able to follow. I'll explain it again when I get to another rock spirit. Okay, so that was kind of fast to explain during the fight, but whatever. I think you guys can get the hang of it when I fight the next guy. Okay, so the mushrooms, thankfully, are extremely easy to deal with. All you do is you come around to the back of the mushroom, and the back is where this little white circle is. You come around to the back of him, and all you do is unleash your charge skill, and then just hold left click. That's it. Hold left click until he dies. And then I'll talk a little bit more about the details of the mushroom, because there is something to mention, but I just wanted you guys to get the basic strategy. Okay, so now we're at another rock spirit. Let me recap the strategy here. We're gonna start with our charge attack and then do one basic attack. The reason that I don't do two basic attacks is because if I do another basic attack, I will not be able to dodge his hit. That's very important. I want to take as little damage as possible while killing them as fast as I can. Okay, but not too fast, right? I want to be able to kill them in exactly 4 hits, no more, no less, while taking as little damage as possible. Okay, so let me talk through the strategy again. We're going to attack with the charge attack. We're going to do one basic attack. I'm going to reposition to the right so I can dodge. He does his long wind up so that I can do an attack on. Then he does another long wind up, and then I just dodge and do an attack. Notice that I didn't need to do back attack damage. So as long as I get 3 hits that are back attack, it actually doesn't matter what I do for the last hit. It doesn't even matter if he does his quick attack. I can still kill him. As long as I dodge his quick attack, I can still attack him. Right, because I know that I have enough damage to kill him, back attack or not. As long as I've landed my charge attack as a back attack and 2 basic attacks as back attacks. Okay? Okay, so now we have another mushroom. Remember, we come around to the back where the white circle is, and all we do is charge attack and then hold left click until he dies. So let's talk about, I know I mentioned a little detail about the mushrooms. And so as you just saw, thankfully, you just saw him do an attack where I took some damage. So it is possible to avoid that attack. However, you are going to sacrifice ridiculous amounts of time. Because what that entails, what avoiding that attack entails, is basically you have to wait around until he uses one of his slower attacks, and it's going to take forever. It's going to probably make it take 5 times as long to kill the mushrooms. So unfortunately, I could not come up with a better strategy than to just take that hit every so often. And so he uses one of 3 skills, the mushroom guys. They use one of 3 skills, 2 of which you can kill before he gets the attack off. And if you get unlucky, he will do a fast attack and you will take damage, unfortunately. So I have not been able to figure out a solution to avoid all damage, but I figured out a solution to avoid all damage from the rock spirits, and 30% of the time take damage from the mushrooms. And with that strategy, I'm able to get 7.8 coins per hour. Okay, all right, here we go. Another rock spirit. So charge attack, 1 basic attack, position to the right. I guess it doesn't have to be to the right, but just position to a place that you can dodge. Just make sure you keep dodging, wait for him to use that attack. Oh, I missed. There we go, you used it again. I see I didn't do back attack damage, so this has to be back attack to kill him. There we go. So I screwed up a little bit there. I think my camera flipped the wrong direction, but whatever, we didn't take damage. No problem. Okay, mushroom, easy, right? Charge attack, hold left click until he dies. Let's see if I get lucky or unlucky this time. Oh, I got lucky. So if you see when he does his quick pivot, that means he's going to use his slow animation attack. You saw him like do a really quick 180. That's when you know you can kill him before he deals damage to you. Okay, so let's do one more of these rock spirit guys. And so charge attack, one basic attack, position to the right to dodge, wait for him to do, that's his quick swipe, so I'm not going to attack. That's his long swipe, so I'm going to make sure to get back attack damage. Now it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if I get back attacks, I can still kill him regardless, as long as I make sure to dodge his attack. Okay, so let's briefly talk about Elixir of the Deep Sea. This does increase your damage. It does. However, remember what I was saying about the ideal amount of hits to kill these guys in, or the ideal amount of skills, I should say, is 4 skills, right? Because you want 1 to deal your biggest damage, and you want the 3 skills afterwards to not only kill the mob, but also be charging your rage meter for the following mob, right? So if, let's just say, and I tried Elixir of Deep Sea, I can kill them in 3 hits. And you might say that, oh, that's good, but the problem is, if I kill them in 3 hits, then let's just play out the scenario. Actually, let's try it. Let's actually try it. I'm going to pop an Elixir of Deep Sea. Let me show you what happens. So I'm going to do a charge attack. I'm going to do 2 basic attacks, and the mushroom should be dead. See? So I killed him in 3 hits, but now look at the situation. Now I'm no longer prepared to start my attack with my charge attack. So which means I need to start with a basic attack and then use the charge attack and then use another basic attack. And so you see, I killed him in another 3 hits, but now I'm in an even worse position. Now I need to do 2 basic attacks before I can use my charge attack, and you'll see where this leads. Okay, so I'm gonna have to do 2 basic attacks, 2, and then I have to do 1 charge attack, and this should kill him. Okay, good, it did. But now I'm in the situation where I literally need to do 3 basic attacks and then a charge attack. So it's gonna take me 4 hits to kill this anyway. And so you might be thinking, oh, well, isn't that just the same as the other approach? It's like, yes and no, right? You might be saying, oh, that's better because you killed those previous 3 in 3 hits, and now you're doing this in 4 hits. The problem with this is if I wait until the last attack to do my charge hit, that's when he's aggroed to me. So he's going to be turning and trying to face me. It's way harder to land all of the hits of the back attack with your charge hit when he's constantly turning and trying to face you. So let me just see if I can do it. But it makes this whole situation way more hectic and harder to manage. Okay, so let's try it. So I'm going to do 2 basic attacks. The reason for that is because if I do a 3rd one, I don't think I'd be able to dodge. So I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait until he does his long hit. Okay, good. Now I have my charge attack. And I'm going to wait until he does his long windup again before I unleash. And so you can get unlucky like this where he just keeps doing that. Okay. Okay, so there. You see how much more hectic and how much longer that took because I had to like position around. I had to make sure that I could land my charge attack. So yeah, this is why Elixir of the Deep Sea is actually worse. It is actually worse. And then so because you always want to start, as you can see right there, it actually took 5 hits to kill because midway through my charge attack, he turned around to face me. So that's the issue of not landing all of your back attacks because they're going to be constantly aggroing and turning towards you. Okay, so I hope that kind of makes sense. So the general strategy is, let's kind of recap again. Unfortunately, with the Elixir of Deep Sea, it's going to kind of mess this up a little bit, but let me just talk through it a little bit. So you come to this first mushroom, and what you do is you auto attack it 3 times purely for the sake of charging your rage meter. So because I already had a charge, I'm going to just come to the next mob. Then what you do is you come to the back of this mob, you start with your charge attack, you do 1 basic attack, and then you position to the right, you dodge, wait for him to do his long windup, and then you do 2, you actually have to do 2 auto attacks, but because again, the Elixir of Deep Sea screwing up my strategy, right? Okay, so And then you come to the mushrooms. They're super easy. All you got to do, you start with a charge attack. Let me do this instead. So I'm going to build up another charge, and I'm going to ignore it. So for the mushrooms, it's super easy. Dang, this one hadn't spawned yet. We'll just wait around and see if he respawns. Oh no, we can just come to this guy. This guy's already respawned. Okay, so come behind the mushroom. Again, the white circle is the back of the mushroom. So all you do, start with the charge attack and then hold left click until he's dead. Okay, and so that should normally take a total of 4 hits, but again, Elixir of Deep Sea is actually ruining my efficiency. Okay, so that's the end of the video. Oh, actually, there's one more thing. So here's my recommendation for the approach that I would say is the healthiest with regards to trying to get your donkey gear as fast as possible. So should you choose to do all of these different things, what I would suggest is first prioritize your dailies, right? Because that is the most efficient use of your time. You get the most coins per time spent doing your dailies. Okay, after you're done with your dailies, then I would say your next priority should be grinding. So grind as much as you feel like, try to grind as much as you can, and then as soon as you get tired of grinding, then you should go to active triple floating. And then if you get tired of active triple floating, then you should go to AFK triple floating, right? And then when you get tired of that, or if you're going to sleep, then you do AFK Balanos rod fishing. Okay, so that's kind of the approach that I took. And Papu and Otter wars, I'll leave that up to you guys. If you guys can figure out a strategy to get more than 390 trash per war, then by all means, go ahead and do Papu and Otter wars. All right. So yeah, now that's the end of the video. If you guys like the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments, or if you guys know any strategies to improve this, let me know. I'm always interested in some secret strats that I might not know about. What else? Oh, I stream a few days a week on Twitch, so come check me out. It's twitch.tv/moonglider. And yeah, I hope to see you there. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.